Today on With the First Pick, we're celebrating 200 episodes in the most predictable way possible. Hey, there we go. Look at this, Rick. Got the disco lights going. Take you back to high school. We're doing a live mock draft, of course. All 32 selections. I'm Ryan Wilson. That's Rick Spielman. This is episode 200. I think it's how the kids say it. Rick, before we get going, how many days to the 2025 NFL draft?
Geez, it's like everything. 200. There are 155 days left until the 2025 NFL draft. And that strobe lights bring me back to the sock hop days in 8th grade at Taft Junior High in Canton, Ohio.
If they had one of these things in the sock hop, you were probably ahead of the times. Like Back to the Future up in here. If you're listening, I have this stupid disco ball that I had bought to keep Rick on time. That was his timer to quit talking so much. But came in handy for the 200th episode.
What do we...
He's doing the lawnmower, Debo. Debo is, there's the lawnmower. He was doing the sprinkler. My bad. I got it wrong. All right.
Heartbeat.
And the heartbeat. That's your go-to. All right. That feels about on message for our 200th episode. Wild time to be alive. I can't believe we've done 200 shows. And Debo can't believe that he's been here for most of them.
Yeah. Can't escape from the Ivy Tower. He still gets sucked down in here every now and then. Yeah,
you can take the kid out of Philly, but you can't take Philly out of the kid. All right, hey, look, if you want to help us celebrate 200 shows, hit the old like button here on YouTube. You can do us one even better by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you're feeling super frisky, the name of an FBS or FCS draft eligible player, we'll talk about him on the show. Shrine Bowl and Senior Bowl accepted invites are going around, Rick. Some Colorado players are headed to the Shrine Bowl, starting with Shedeur Sanders, so that'll be fun. But for now, it's mock draft time. Debo, fire up the mock draft simulator. All right, Rick, you are odd number picks. I am even number picks. And Debo informs me that as mock draft commissioner, he can randomly institute trade ups or trade downs. So make it a little interesting instead of just going through the regular process. Because, again, 200 episodes deserve something special. You're first up, number 1 overall. Our buddy Pete Prisco, the mayor of Jacksonville, insists that Travis Hunter will not go to the Jaguars should the draft order remain the same because they need big guys. There could be some changes at the head coaching position, the front office, the quarterback staying the same. What are you doing?
I am putting this number 1 overall pick up for bid if anyone is interested.
All right. I'm actually okay. So look. Here's the thing. Let me check. I think the Raiders are picking 5th. So that's you. I don't know if you want to trade up to yourself. But Cleveland's at 3. They need a quarterback. The Giants are at 4. And, of course, the Raiders are at 5. And the Raiders are in a similar position in terms of the pecking order of where they were last year when they picked 13th, Rick, because they got the 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12. So... oh, man. Debo, let's do this. Oh, you're picking 7, too, which is the Jets. So then the question becomes Vegas or the Jets? You have both those picks, so I think you should make one of those guys trade up.
I'll take I'll have since it's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, just probably an arm and half of a leg. I'll go with the Vegas moving up.
Okay, so Vegas is coming up from 5 to 1. The Jets are sitting at 7. And the conversation we had on Tuesday is one that I put on the old Twitter machine there. Is this cost, oh boy, whatever it ends up being, and whatever your draft compensation is, if you're watching or listening to this, that makes you happiest, use that. Is this cost better in the long run than Justin Fields plus Tedero McMillan at 5 or Will Campbell at 5?
I just got to get a quarterback. I can't watch my team anymore the way it's functioning right now. I can't.
And you're speaking for Brock Bowers, it turns out.
Yes. So, yeah.
All right.
And I have Tom Brady, who's going to help select the next franchise quarterback with the Las Vegas Raiders, since it sounds like he will be heavily involved in some football operations decisions. And I bet that includes the next franchise quarterback or supposed franchise quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Before you make your pick, do you think Antonio Pierce is concerned about his future, given that Tom Brady's the new voice in the room?
I don't know. I mean, I hate
Okay,
for
fair.
guys to lose their jobs, and I hate talking
I get
about
that
it.
part,
It
but
makes me depressed. So
well,
I don't know. I think it's too early. Everything's got to be evaluated at the end of the season. And if Tom Brady's coming in and he's part of the decision-making process, I'm sure he'll sit down with Tom Telesco, the general manager there, along with the ownership, and make a decision on how they're going to move forward.
all right, Tommy Brady Spielman, who you taking number 1 overall?
Cam Ward.
That feels about right. That feels like a good pick. All right, next up,
Rick, do you
Tennessee Titans.
factor in Tom Brady's like pre-existing relationship with Shador Sanders and him kind of acting as a mentor? Do you think that is an influence at all?
Oh, I'm sure all of that's going to be an influence, but we're not talking about that because now you're going down 100 different rabbit holes, and we're trying to keep this as simplified as possible. But I will say, based on the way the board is stacked and the way Cam Ward, to me, he's still my number 1 quarterback, although I had a flip-flop last time we did the quarterback rankings. But when you look at the overall grand picture, Cam Ward goes from a Saturday pick last year to the number 1 overall pick this year, which is bizarro land to me. But I have to get a quarterback. I can't watch what I'm watching anymore.
All right, Rick, the Tennessee Titans are now on the board. I mean, Travis Hunter is very, very enticing. But Woody Johnson at number 7, that's you, New York Jets. Would you like to trade up to number 2?
No.
Okay.
I think number 4 should trade up because, again, you're not giving an arm and a leg away.
Yeah.
You may be giving an arm and half a leg. Why wouldn't you do that?
I want to give you an opportunity because I get a little more in
Thanks,
return.
Kenny. You are so kind to me. It's amazing. That's why we've been 200 shows together, because of the kindness you show to me every show.
I would agree with that. But you're right. So the Jets at 7 say no. Woody Johnson says no, thank you. But the Giants at 4, Debo, they do want to move up to 2. So the Tennessee Titans are fine. They're not fine passing on Travis Hunter. He's not a luxury pick. I think offensive line is maybe slightly more important to them. But there's a real chance. Well, there's a chance, not a real chance. There's a real chance that Travis Hunter may be there at 4, but if not, their offensive tackle choice will be there at 4. So the Giants move up to 2. They're taking Shador Sanders. We're living in a world, Rick, where quarterbacks go 1 and 2 in a year. Had it been the previous draft season, they would have gone perhaps 6 or 7. But here we are. All right, you're on the clock. Cleveland Browns, number 3.
Oh boy, I can go a lot of different directions here. No more quarterbacks, so I'm going to have to get a bridge gap quarterback, I think, or unless I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with Deshaun Watson and his gazillion-dollar contract looming. I can definitely go offensive line here, but I think there's too many talented defensive guys out there still. So I'm going to go with Mason Graham, defensive tackle at
No, that's a
Michigan.
That's a good pick. I don't know if it helps this team because you mentioned the quarterback situation, but I get it. And that defense hasn't been nearly as good. I'm celebrating as the Tennessee Titans because now I can just take Travis Hunter and feel good about it. We'll worry about the offensive line later, but I just love the explosiveness he brings to this offense, and he'll help on defense, although that defense, especially at cornerback, they got some dudes there, some young guys we've talked about. They signed LaCherry Sneed as well. So Travis Hunter it is at 4. Not overthinking it. At number 5, this is where you traded down, and you're now the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I definitely need either offense or defensive line help. I have to go with the offensive line, so I am going to go with. I could use a corner too. But I got to go. I'm going to believe Pete Prisco since he's the mayor of Jacksonville.
Yep.
So I'm going to go offensive line. If Trent Baalke is still there as the general manager, which I think he's put together a pretty good roster, I'm going to assume that he's still there. That I'm going to go with Banks, the left tackle from Texas.
Have you always been a Banks guy? Because I was leaning into him a little earlier, and I felt like you were wavering between him and Will Campbell at LSU.
I think and just looking at Trent's history, he always leans more towards the athletic. Will Campbell may be more polished, but I don't think he's as athletic. Banks, I think, can line up and play left tackle. And those, it's not a great offensive tackle class. So I'm going to say that they go with a more athletic guy, even though he may be not as lengthy as you want at left tackle, but he is a really good athlete. And I think he can secure the left side for Trevor Lawrence going forward.
Yep, they traded Cam Robinson. Walker Little is in the final year of his deal, and they need help at offensive tackle. So that makes sense. And don't forget Debo, Commissioner Debo. You can put in these random trades if you want, just to mix things up. Patriots. This is the year, Rick, they're going to draft an offensive tackle. The last 2 years, they didn't do it. And look, man, I give that unit credit for being held together with duct tape. They're holding up. They're not great, but they're doing better than I thought. And Drake May is helping them, and he's been a fun watch because I think you and I thought that he perhaps should sit for a while. But I'm going to go with Will Campbell. I like Kelvin Banks a little bit better, but Will Campbell, LSU left tackle, Andrew Whitworth 2.0 is my comp.
No,
I'm taking them. Now the Jets are on the clock. They don't have a quarterback. I don't know if you saw the report from Diana Rossini in The Athletic yesterday, but it sounds like it is a straight up dumpster fire, if her reports are true, coming out of New York. Apparently, Woody Johnson wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers after week 4 or so. And at the time, Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas, who were both employed, couldn't believe those were real words coming out the owner's mouth. Joe Douglas apparently had his hands tied to do things he would like to do to make the team better in terms of trading guys, signing guys to contracts, so on and so forth. So I don't know how involved Woody Johnson's going to be. We'll see if he ends up getting another ambassadorship and leaving it in the hands of his brother. The team seemed to run a little smoother when Chris was in charge. Either way, quarterbacks are gone, Rick. What are you doing at 7 for the Jets?
Boy, I can go offensive line here, but I think the 2 top tackles are off. It's a hodgepodge of putting all these older guys. We talked about all the chips in this year, but who knows the direction of this is a total rebuild. I'm going to go to the defensive side of the ball, and this one's going to shock you a little bit, I think.
All right.
I think that they have McDonald as edge rushers, but I think the versatility of Abdul Carter gives them a lot of flexibility on the defense. So I'm going to go Abdul Carter here.
That's a good pick. I was eyeballing them for the Panthers. So wait, you said they had Verse? Who they had? They don't have Verse. Who do they have?
Or not Verse. Johnson. Jermaine Johnson.
Oh, Jermaine. Right. So right, they have Jermaine who was injured. He'll be back. They have Will McDonald. Right now they get Abdul Carter. All right, that's a trio of dudes. Hassan Reddick's 30 years old, so he held out for a long time. They got him in. We'll see how that works out for him, but. And that defense has not played well, which is another.
If someone's blowing it up, all those older guys are going to be gone. So start building through the draft.
Yeah, right. And let me ask you this. Sauce Gardner is having a down year. How do you address that? Do you not? Do you hopefully he works himself out? Because he has not been himself.
No, and I don't know the reasons why, again, but I would say that, he's not playing at the same level he did when he was Defensive Rookie of the Year for whatever reason. No. I think he has to get his edge back. I just don't think he's playing with that edge that he had as a rookie, because he should be a shutdown corner like he showed as a rookie. And it's not physical. It's whatever is going on there. And there's a lot of distractions going on there, as you stated. But he needs to get back to who he is and play with that edge that he's always played with.
All right, next up, the Carolina Panthers. In my mock draft that came out on CBSSports.com on Monday, I had them taking Abdul Carter. Thanks for that, Rick. So I'm just going to go right down the list. I'm getting them another edge rusher. They traded Brian Burns. I'm taking right there, Debo, James Pierce out of Tennessee. He unofficially is 247. He plays much stronger than that. He's twitched up. He can play against the run. I like a lot of things that he does, and I think he gives that front four some juice. So not overthinking it. I don't know what we're going to do with quarterback. Bryce is going to start again against the Chiefs this weekend as we're recording this podcast. So, you know what? Maybe he turns the corner. Hope's a plan this time, Rick. All right, next up. Speaking of hope, the Dallas Cowboys hope you can fix this team, Rick, at number 9.
Boy, I could go offensive line here. You can go, does a running back go here? in the top 10? They
Oh,
definitely
sweet
need
mercy.
running
That's a
back.
great call.
Or do they need more receiver help with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb? Because they usually are rolling with most of these teams. Philadelphia has 2 elite receivers. All these teams have pretty good combinations of 1 and 2. So I'm going to go, just to shake it up a bit in this mock, I'm going to go with McMillan, the receiver from Arizona.
Oh, that's a good call. Oh, dang it. You know what? Rick, I'm going to trade picks. I'm going to give you pick 10 so I can take pick 11 and do a trade.
Okay, why are you running out of dudes?
No. I want this to happen. So here's what I'm going to do, and you can veto it. How about this? You can veto it if you don't like it, and I'll just stay with pick 10. But I want this to happen for the Bengals. So the Bengals currently pick at 11. The Saints are on the clock right now at pick 10. I want you to trade up from 11 to 10, one spot, because I don't think the Saints need this necessarily. And you can tell me if I'm wrong. And I want the Bengals to take Ashton Genty.
I'll give them that. I'll do that trade.
If you're the Bengals, you would do that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd just, for the purposes of this mock and to shake it up a little bit, what Minnesota traded up one spot last year to go get JJ McCarthy. So I'm New Orleans. I'm in a rebuild as well. I'll take as many picks as I can get. So I will do that trade, and you can take your running back.
If you're the Bengals, do you feel okay with this, given that the offensive line class is sort of falling off after the top 2 guys? I know you need help on defense, but this defensive class is deep too.
I'm not going to be up there and talking in front of the press conference like you have to, since you just made that trade and traded for a running back with a very deep class. So you have to go up there and make that.
Here's what I'm saying. All I'm going to do is go up there and show a video of Jahmyr Gibbs. It's like, this is our future.
Okay. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs.
He's going to go around the same range. Do you think he goes higher than 12?
Yes, maybe.
Okay.
But only thing I'm saying is that it is a deep running back class. Every running back I look at, God, this guy's going to be able to play in the league.
Yeah, no, that's true. But there's a big gap between 1 and 2.
Yeah, the only thing is that Gibbs, just like Bijan, were really playmakers as receivers out of the backfield or in the slot. I think this kid's more running back. Now, can he catch the ball? Can he make big plays on screens? Yada, yada. Yes, but I don't think he is the same caliber speed as Gibbs, even though he has really good speed, or the same type of receiver those two were that went in the top 10. That's my only hesitation.
No, I get that. And we've talked about when they throw the ball to him, which is rarely, he shows the ability to catch it, but he doesn't have the reps that Bijan and Jahmyr did in college in terms of receiving. Fair enough. All right, Joe Burrow, stay tough, because we're not getting you offensive line help just yet. All right. Mickey Loomis, what are you doing for the Saints at 11?
Well,
Rick, why don't you think about that?
Oh,
for a
right.
second?
Yeah, I got so excited I didn't follow the instructions. We've got to take a quick break, Rick. This 200 episode isn't going to pay for itself. All right, quick break. Mickey Loomis Spielman will tell you what he's going to do for the Saints right after this.
Well, you need your sports news anywhere?
We've got breaking news to bring you.
Then get your sports anytime you want them. Big trade news overnight to discuss.
Because we know you need sports all the time.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
A legend adds to their legacy.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
CBS Sports HQ, anywhere, anytime, all the time.
All right, Rick. This team moved on from Dennis Allen, and they've suddenly refound their mojo. They're blowing people out. They beat the brakes off. Who'd they beat? The Raiders last weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't even close. So I don't know if Derek Carr has rediscovered his form or what, but I think you're right. This team is in the midst of a rebuild. They moved on from Marshawn Lattimore, traded him to Washington. So pick 11. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go edge rusher here for sure, since we made that trade. I mean, Granderson's there. Jordan, Cameron Jordan is old. You know, they didn't exercise a fifth-year option of Peyton Turner, who they took. So they need edge rush help to go along. So I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Pierce.
I just took him.
Oh, you didn't take Pierce. You took the running back from.
No, a couple picks ago. Right after you took Abdul Carter, I took him.
Okay. My fault. I'm going then with
Pierce to the Panthers
okay.
at pick 8.
Got it. Apologize for that. So we didn't turn the card in yet. Thank God there's people in the
Wait a second. Let me ask you this. So if JJ McCarthy's drafted and you're picking next and you put JJ McCarthy's name down, that doesn't count if you turn it in, does it?
You're not turning it in. You look like a total moron. I mean, your board is live. So our board, as soon as the name
Can you
was
imagine?
picked, the name disappears off your board.
Somebody has to get fired if that happens, I guess.
Oh my God. Yeah, the card guy that's taking cards off the board back in the day.
Were you the card guy at one point?
I started out as a card guy.
Yeah. All right. Well,
A very
don't do
important
that.
job. All right.
What was one of your picks?
Yeah, you remember?
The card I took off?
Yeah.
Barry Sanders.
Is that true?
Yes.
All right. That's it. That was your first card off, and then your first pick was Adrian Peterson?
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's a pretty good track record.
So, okay, then give me Michael Williams.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer. I need to get an edge rusher for sure.
I am happy that you did what you did. And hopefully Mikael Williams can stay healthy and continues to arrow points upward during the pre-draft process because he's a freakish athlete. But this is easy for me. You're looking at his name right there at the top of the old draft board. Cornerback out of Michigan, Will Johnson, who could go higher than this. I thought you might take him with the pick that just happened there, Rick. So give me Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan, going to Miami.
Yeah, and he could very easily go to New Orleans because Lattimore's now with Commanders. But I want to get the edge rushers because if you can definitely put pressure on the quarterback, it really helps the back end. So I went with edge over corner, even though I would have been happy with either one of those.
All right, Tampa Bay's up. They have needs at wide receiver. There's one sitting out there. What are you going to do, Rick?
Yeah, let me look at edge. Todd Bowles is there.
Boy.
Hey, Debo, did Pierce go yet?
Barry Sanders is still out there.
Yeah, I still think they need to get better pressure. I mean, there's two tackles are their leading sackers, I believe, this year. They're not getting anything off the edge. So I'm going to go with the best edge rusher on the board and go with Nick Scorton from Texas A&M.
Yeah, there are a lot of dudes. Is this edge class better than last year's edge class?
I think it's deeper.
Deeper.
Yes.
I don't think there's going to be a Jared Verse in this class necessarily.
I just took him.
You took Jared Verse?
Yes.
He's thick. Scorton is for sure.
But he's that power type rusher like Jared Verse is, and he plays with his hair on fire.
You talked about him in the summer, and I had not yet seen him. And the way you described him reminded me of Keon White, and you said he's a more juiced up version of Keon White.
More athletic.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, because at Purdue, I saw him. He played from a 2-point at 275, 280, and comes on a wide 9 and just hums off the edge and explodes.
All right. Chicago Bears. Offensive line could be a consideration here. The top two guys are gone. The team played better, man, last week with Thomas Brown. So we'll see if that's sustainable or not. But here's what I'm thinking about. Eesh. So let's look at the edge, Debo, see if there's any guys left that I want to take at 14. It feels sort of high. So, yeah, we're getting out of – let's look at defensive tackle. And then I think that I know the direction I'm going. I like Deion Walker there. Kenneth Grant's a fun one. Walter Nolan as well. I'm going to go with an athlete here, Rick, that's versatile. Georgia's Jalen Walker. Off-ball linebacker, but I think we can move him around on the edge too.
Yeah, just because they're already paying gazillions of dollars to two other linebackers, so why not add a third?
Yeah,
he can rush the edge. He needs
we'll move him around a little bit.
Sweat needs a partner.
So I think he's the best option in terms of versatility and athleticism. We shall see. All right, next up, Indianapolis Colts at 15. Picking 15 again. Last year they took Leatu Latu at 15.
Yeah, I can go very easily defensive back here. But I think they need to add more playmakers to the offensive side of the ball.
All right.
So I'm going back and forth between these two. But if it's today, I am going to take for the Indianapolis Colts, Mr. Warren from Penn State.
Whoa! Over Colston Loveland?
Yes. And I love
don't even
Colston
hate it.
Loveland.
I don't even hate it. Colston's issue is that he's playing in an offense that they don't like to throw the ball overhand.
Well, they can't because they don't have a quarterback to throw the ball overhand.
So Tyler is just doing it all. Man. You know what, Mike? I struggle with going back looking at the comp for Tyler Warren. What do you think about this? And it's funny you mentioned the Colts because this is who sort of came to mind. Dallas Clark.
Yeah, since it's the 200th anniversary of us doing shows together, I think that is a great and fine pro comp. Maybe the best you've ever had.
I went back and looked. Dallas played in the 260s. I didn't realize he was that big.
He is a big man. I think he just went into their Ring of Honor.
Yeah, he should have for sure.
Do you like that, Debo? Are you okay with that pick?
Yeah, I'm surprised. You're going to lose a $1 Colston Loveland bet if that happens.
I would love it.
Well, this
Win-win
is
for
me being a giver to Debo, taking a Penn State guy in the first round to you. That's all I do is give.
You
So
took
last
two
year-
lines so far,
Huh?
Abdul and Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Got any more guys left?
yeah,
Got Singleton. Got Reed that's safety.
yeah. There's no more first rounders.
No Drew Aller. He needs to come back to school.
He's going to go back to school.
All right. Next up, the Seattle Seahawks. They caught fire too after their bye week, so that's fun to see. What I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to bolster the secondary with Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia.
Yeah, that's good pay. Good football player.
Well, I'm leaning into these Georgia guys all of a sudden. All right, so we haven't talked a lot about Malachi this season, oddly enough, but to your point, he's a really good football player for sure, and we'll be talking a lot more about him in the next 155 days. Los Angeles Rams at 17. Didn't pick forever, and when they do make picks, they just hit home runs, Rick, so a lot of pressure on you.
Oh, this one, I'm going way out in left field.
Okay.
I could look at offensive line here. I can look at corner. They definitely need a corner. Debo, can we? I'm not trying to be silly here, but can I go with a reach pick here, just to stir the pot?
Yes, sir.
I am going to predict this. I am going. Boy.
Uh-oh. Getting cold feet.
What am I going to do? Get fired if I do this pick? No.
That's what Joe Douglas said when he signed Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. So yeah, he'll be doing podcasts too. All right, you boys, put on your seatbelts. I'm going to go. Right. I'm going to go way out in left field on this one. There are corners sitting there. They definitely need a corner. I know they need a corner. Morrison from Notre Dame's the logical choice. He's coming off a hip, but I'm assuming that hip's going to be okay. God, do I go this crazy or not?
Go crazy.
All right, you ready for this?
So nervous.
I am going to take Carson Beck at 17 to be the next Matthew Stafford.
I would have rather you taken James Pierce again.
I want to say they get let him sit. He fits that offense. I think he's going to fit that West Coast scheme, Sean McVay's system. So I'm going to say they're going to take their future quarterback that doesn't have to play for the next couple of years till Matthew Stafford's done, and they got Carson Beck in the trough.
Debo, grade that.
Do you think that could be the first time that an entire quarterback room is from the same college?
Oh,
Stafford,
yeah.
Bennett, Beck.
Wow, good point. Okay, then that's a no-brainer. Carson Beck.
Debo, grade that pick.
For the purposes of this mock, an A+. Sorry, I don't do pluses. An A.
You got to shake it up. We have
for
to.
The Rams' future.
I get it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, Rick. You know,
I want to shake it up a bit.
Yeah,
I was always been a Carson Beck fan, have I not?
This is very true. You are.
Does,
and then he came up.
Does he have eligibility? left?
I think he can come back. I got to double check.
If he comes back, I think that would be a wise choice.
Yeah.
But the way he played last week against Tennessee, and if he finishes out like he did against Tennessee,
Correct.
to me, I think this would be a future pick for the Rams.
Yep. I get it. All right, Debo, let's look at cornerback real quick, and then I'm going to make a decision. Rick mentioned Benjamin Morris still being there. He has the hip injury, so his season's been done for a month or so now. So there's him, Siobhan Ravel, unfortunately, towards ACL, and who's below him? If you scroll down, Debo. Takario Davis, he's long. Denzel Burke, not quite ready. I'm going to go defensive line here. I'm going to shore up the middle of this defense. Kenneth Grant's there. Deion Walker's there. And who's below? Oh, I think it's Walter Nolan. I'm going to take Kenneth Grant. He's quietly had a really good season, plays next to Mason Graham. I think he has a chance to go right in this range here, Rick.
Perfect.
Pick 19. So we'll take a break after 2 more picks. You're the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix does not approve of you making the pick for them, given all the things you said about him, but he is willing to let you do it if you get the player that I think you're going to get for him.
This is a no-brainer pick for me. I'm going to go with Luther Burton, the receiver.
Oh, I thought you might go with the tight end.
Nope. I'm going to go
All right.
with the receiver, Luther Burton.
He likes that pick too. Well done. Man, Bo Nix is making us all eat crow. Would you say who's having a better year so far? Bo Nix or Drake May?
Well, Bo Nix, because he's played more. And
I think Drake May's
but Drake May is going to be a really good player.
He really is. All right. Yeah, they're both doing well. I'm happy for both of them. Next up at number 20, the Atlanta Falcons. And I had the Falcons taken in my mock draft, a cornerback. But do I want to? Defensive tackle might be another consideration again for Atlanta. They have Onyemata there. They have Lorenzo. No, they don't. Excuse me. They have Eddie Goldman. Yeah, I'm going to go. Grady Jarrett, of course, is still there. Give me Deion Walker in the middle of that defense, Debo, and let's not overcomplicate it. He's healthy. We'll see where Morrison and Ravel are in terms of their recoveries from their respective injuries at cornerback. All right. When we come back, Rick, you are picking for. You said this team had a chance to be really good in the offseason, and they're doing exactly that. The Arizona Cardinals, first place in their division. They're headed towards hopefully the playoffs, and you're going to tell us what they're going to do in the draft right after this.
If you love football, this is the best time of the year.
This is as big as it gets.
The stuff of absolute dreams.
All right, Rick. Arizona Cardinals are on the clock. Your guy, Drew Petzing's going to be in the conversation for some head coaching opportunities, the offensive coordinator in Arizona, because of what he's done there. Jonathan Galen's done a great job making that team play up to their capabilities. 6-4 as we sit here. What are you doing at 21?
Let me look at the edge first, Debo. I think they need to add another pass rusher. Darius Robinson's been injured and just coming back. So Jonathan Gannon, defense. I can go offensive line here too. What about offensive tackle? I could either go Ezra from Minnesota or the edge rusher from Mississippi. Give me the edge rusher from Mississippi. Uman Mielen.
I think that's all right. All right. So Washington has Marshawn Lattimore. Benjamin St. Juste contract is up at the end of the season. They could do offensive line help here, but I'm happy with the way that the rookie Coleman has played. Cornelius Lucas's deal is up. The backup right tackle, Trent Scott, his deal is up as well. Andrew Wiley starts there. So I'm going to go with Benjamin Morris, cornerback out of Notre Dame for Washington at 22. All right, next up, pick 23, the Houston Texans.
Yeah, they need offensive line help in the worst way. I know they have Tunsil left tackle, but I think Ezra could be inside a potential guard where they definitely need help there, or potentially right tackle. But he's the best offensive lineman available left on the board. So I'm going to go with Ezra from Minnesota to help their offensive line because it's a sieve right now.
All right. We've talked about him a little bit. We'll see. I mean, he needs to have a good pre-draft process. There's some athleticism. He is athletic, but there's some consistency issues, but he's young. That happens. I get it. Next up, Baltimore Ravens. Speaking of a team that needs offensive line help, this would be the Baltimore Ravens. I feel pretty good about this. I took this young man in the Monday mock draft, Debo. I'm going to go with Jonah Savanaya, the plays tackle for Arizona right now. He can play inside at guard. They need help at guard immediately. They have Rosengarten on the right side, the rookie out of Washington. He struggled a little bit, but I think he has a chance to get better. I think Ronnie Stanley might be in the last year of his deal at left tackle. Yeah, he is. Him and Makari both. So if that's a consideration, I don't know if I want Savanai playing left tackle, but we'll see if they re-up Ronnie Stanley. But I'm taking Savanai to play inside to start, and then we'll go from there. Next up, 25, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, this one, you can go any direction. They're playing high level. I think they need another offensive playmaker. So this one was a no-brainer for me. I am going to go with Colston Loveland, the tight end from Michigan, who they don't have a pass-catching tight end right now, and I think that fills a huge need for them and another weapon for Justin Herbert.
It's funny that Greg Roman catches all this flack and all he does is coordinate up good offenses. Maybe not super sexy, but that's okay. They don't need to be. All right, the Green Bay Packers are picking here at 26. Got a quarterback. They got all the skill position players you could need at both wide receiver and tight end. Let's see who's up. Eric Stokes' contract's up. Corey Ballantyne's contract's up. They got some defensive guys, front seven guys that are going to be up as well. Let's go to defensive line, Debo. Oh, boy, I love me some Walter Nolan. I love me some Tyleik Williams. And let's go just to edge to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Yeah, so I'm going to take – what do you think of this, Rick? I'm taking Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State.
Good football player.
In the middle of that defensive line, for the Green Bay Packers. We haven't talked a lot about him. We talked about him a little bit early on and certainly last year. But I like the idea of putting him right there in the middle of that defense and getting after it. Next up, Pittsburgh Steelers at 27. Rick has told us on Tuesday that they should re-sign Russ Wilson to $20 million a year because that's average salary for a quarterback. So quarterback's not an issue. What are we doing, Rick?
Boy, I can go. They're playing good on defense. I think that they still need receiver help. So go to receiver, Debo. And I think,
just so you know, Rick, in the mock draft, I had him taking your guy, Jalen Royals.
Oh, great. Yeah. Scroll up, Debo. Are you kidding me? Mr. I think a faster version of Jackson Smith and Jigba coming out of Ohio State.
Ooh.
Egbuka from Emeka Egbuka, the receiver out of Ohio State, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Sign me up for that. All right, 28. Minnesota Vikings. So, J.J. McCarthy will be coming back. And we'll see what they do with Sam Darnold, who's on the one-year deal. You know, Debo, let's go with cornerback Siobhan Ravel coming off the ACL. He should be plenty healed up. I haven't read anything about any hiccups in his recovery, so I think he should be ready to go there. I like to play a little more physical, but I think he's long and he can cover, and that'll work in that B-Flow defense, assuming B-Flow doesn't get any head coaching opportunities. All right, Rick, a lot of pressure here. Next up, Debo's Philadelphia Eagles. And you can take another quarterback if you think that's a need, or you can go another direction.
Debo, you're the expert on the Philadelphia Eagles. If you have this pick, which direction would you go, offense or defense?
I We'd still probably target either side of the line, whoever you think best player available is.
And you are out on Jordan Davis
He's been better since our
Okay.
last mock.
since you yelled
I
at him.
still don't know if that equals that 5th-year extension.
Would you
Would
go
you think about
edge
trading
there?
him, Rick?
Huh?
Would you think about trading Jordan Davis in the offseason?
Oh boy, I don't know if they still think that. It depends. I think what that post-season meeting is, and where Vic Fangio thinks if he's starting to get to him because he is starting to play a little better. I agree with Debo.
Okay.
Debo, would you be mad if I went with edge here?
No, Josh Sweat still pretty young. Nolan Smith getting better. Jalix Hunt actually coming on in the past couple weeks, but I think there's
Oh, good
always
for
a need
Jalix.
for edge.
Is there a particular edge go to edge, Debo?
You tell me. It's probably what do you think, JT?
That's JT. There you go.
Oh, gosh. Got to get your quota in. I thought he helped you out with Ty Leak, but I guess not. All right,
This
the
is a
Buffalo
good football
Bills.
player.
He is a good football player. Buffalo Bills are on the clock. I went with in my mock draft on Monday, I went with Nick Emanwari, the safety out of South Carolina. Is that too rich for you, Rick?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I
I'm not
think,
thinking. I mean,
I know. And I put him in that draft in that mock. I think he's probably a top 40-ish guy, and we'll see. So let me think about this. Debo, let's look at defensive line. Somebody show up the middle of that defense. We got some guys there. Oh, I know who I'm taking. Shamar Stewart, Texas A&M.
good player.
Yeah. So he's a little bit of Darius Robinson in terms of versatility at 290-ish or so. So I'll take him. Texas A&M defensive lineman. He play in the middle, push him outside, and the Buffalo Bills get 2 for 1 there. All right. Kansas City Chiefs are up at 31. Tyler Warren, long gone. Colson Loveland, long gone. What are you doing here, Rick?
Offensive tackle. I still have issues at offensive tackle.
So you have Wanya Morris at left. You have Kingsley Sumatea at left. What are you doing with those guys? You drafted
I'm
them
still trying to swing. I'm still trying to get a left.
Okay. Yep. I get it. Swing hard in case you hit it.
So,
hey, let me ask you this first. Josh Simmons towards ACL, I think it was against Oregon a month or so ago. You think he should return to left tackle at Ohio State?
I think if he comes back, let's say I took him here at 31. But if he comes back, he could potentially be a top 10 pick. So if I was him, I would definitely come back just because of coming off the knee injury. I went back and watched that Oregon game before he got hurt. Like he played 20 some snaps. He started to struggle a little bit in that game more than he did against the other competition. You know, like the Iowa was the week before. So he played good in Iowa. And if he would have continued to ascend and we would see him through the rest of the season, I think he would have been up there in that top 10 to 15 range, the way he was ascending. But coming off an ACL, he definitely needs to come back to school. But if he doesn't, as a project, I could see him. I could also go towards Cameron Williams,
The
who
right tackle of Texas plays opposite Kelvin Banks.
Yeah, that has had a good year too. Let me go with a healthy guy. Let me go with Cameron Williams, just to add into that mix of offensive linemen and figure out where I'm going to play him.
Let me ask you this too, Rick. When you talk to Shug and the team doctors about players returning from ACL, is it easier for, say, a cornerback like Siobhan Ravel as opposed to a 330-pound offensive tackle who has to brace every time?
I think ACL repairs should be pretty commonplace.
Okay.
But I do think an offensive lineman should come back a lot faster just because they're not I understand the stress and everything, but they're not out there making cuts in space and doing all the other things. So I think offensive linemen that have a good ACL repair usually come back strong.
Okay. All right. No, I get you. Even though you're sort of bracing against other 300-pound guys, you're not out there running the cone drill.
Correct.
All right. Go back to defensive line, Debo. I think there's a guy here that I was going to make. Yeah, that's going to make it. Oh, I'm going to mix it up, Rick. I was going to take Walter Nolan, but I'm taking your guy, Derek Harmon, here at 32.
I like Derek Harmon better than I like Nolan.
You do or don't?
I do.
So I took the Detroit Lions run the clock at 32 because they're the best team in the league right now, and I went interior defensive line. Walter Nolan, I like but Rick was on Derek Harmon, so I took Derek Harmon at 32. I think he feels like someone that Brad and Chris and Dan could get behind.
It's Brad and Dan. Chris, he's just behind the scenes guy.
He's just trying to rub two nickels together and
make a dime.
Make a dime. Make a dime. All right, Dad, that's it. We did it,
Debo, how did you think this mock went?
That's pretty good.
Strong, Rick. You have a strong sense of social media, picking Carson Beck at 17.
That was wild. Yeah, him and Hod for 10 minutes, so you knew it was going to be a.
I was like, do I want to really do this? And why not?
Why not?
We've asked this question before, but if this was the 2024 draft class, in what order of the quarterbacks selected would Cam Ward go, considering he was the first off our board?
Do we know what we know now, or do we know what we knew back in late April?
We know what we know now.
Oh,
Cam's sixth after JJ's.
I was going to say that's tough. No, let's reverse it back to we know what we know about Cam Ward right now and how he was a third-round pick at draft time last year, but we know about the prospects as of April 2024.
All right, Rick, I'm going to say that Cam Ward would have been after Caleb, Jaden, and Drake.
And Penix.
And maybe Penix, yeah. So he would have been QB5 for me, ahead of JJ, ahead of Bo Nix.
I would have put right there with JJ/Bo Nix.
Because you like JJ a little more than I did.
So I would have had a tough discussion between Cam Ward and Bo Nix.
Well, you had Bo Nix the day 2 guy.
I did, but
and maybe Cam does fall into the bottom of the first round, top of the second, if we're talking about those other 5 quarterbacks in front of him.
Yeah, but Bo Nix went 12 overall, and Sean Payton and George Payton were right, and the rest of us they saw something, and especially Sean Payton, who's a quarterback guru, saw something that none of us saw. So
that should have been a hint. You said he was the toughest quarterback you faced in college, right?
Yep.
Yeah. You didn't learn the lesson. All right. Debo will send me the link to this, and I'll put it on the Twitter machines. But that's it. That's a wrap on Mock Draft 200th episode edition. We'll do another one for episode 400 too, Rick. So make a note in your book. Love it. Man, there are a lot of good picks here.
Yeah,
all right.
Like good football players that were in this first round.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Mixed up some trades in there. Rick didn't complain. It's a special occasion when Rick's in happy mode. That's a wrap on episode 200, Rick.
Yeah, no, be in Chicago this afternoon for my niece's wedding, and
let's celebrate that too.
Part of the ceremonies.
Are you a wedding dancer, Rick? Do you dance like you were showing off at the beginning of the show?
100%.
No, I am the wedding DJ.
Oh, you're actually I've told you this, Debo, but folks might be surprised to learn that Rick Wood actually is a good DJ. Good taste in music.
Yes, I do. If you want to go 70s funk, just call me up. I can bring you from Average White Band to Dr. Funkenstein and George Clinton and Parliament to Wild Cherry. Was always a great dance music at a wedding, isn't it, Debo? Play that funky music, white boy.
Is that Wild Cherry? I didn't even know that.
Yes.
All right, you don't have to get angry.
Rick, I went to trivia night last night, and they play these songs. You got to say the artist and the name of the song, and I can, pretty strong after a certain year, but I got a John Mellencamp incorrect, and I could have used you.
What was the song?
Jack and Diane.
Oh my God, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Moving up the hill.
Right. That is John Cougar Mellencamp. What'd you say?
Don't ask.
Oh no! What do you think he said, Rick? He probably said Prince.
Yeah, who the hell knows what goes through Debo's head sometime.
All right, that's it. Let's wrap episode 2000 in the books. Next week is Thanksgiving, so
200. But if we get to 2000, we're going to get a gold watch.
Did I say 2000?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It feels like 2000, doesn't it? Next week's Thanksgiving, so we'll be taping shows on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Tuesday, I can't wait for this, Rick. We're doing a rookie redraft of the 2024 class. For the love of God, Debo, make sure the instructions are clear. And then on Wednesday, we'll
Is it a snake draft or what kind of draft? I did the snake draft on our last episode. I adapted.
You did adapt.
Yeah. Was there any
Nothing else
response to our snake draft, Debo? No one chimed in on who had a better snake draft?
I think I got the
replies I saw. A few were upset about Lamar's placement and thought he should have been higher.
He went second overall. I went second round. He, get over it.
I think
Don't
4
lose to the
overall.
Steelers.
Yeah.
Right, 4th overall. So yeah, rookie redraft next week. That'll be fun. I mean, Bo Nix could be the first overall pick if we're on this course. And then on Wednesday, going to update our QB rankings as we head down the home stretch of the college football season. So look for that. In the meantime, thanks as always to my guy Rick. Thanks to Debo for producing. Thanks you guys who watch, listen, and comment. Have a great weekend.